Hey there, Winnie here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and today we're going to start part 2 of our Fantasia Warrior Girl color along. If you're new, look in the description box and you'll see part 1. So I thought I'd make this band gold, so I put down a base layer of cream, and then I'm going in right where the shadow would fall and just adding a little bit of this artichoke. Now I am going kind of light. Now one thing I will note, if you watched the previous video, one thing I meant to say that I didn't was that I am using a blending solution. I don't remember if I use Zest-It or Gamsol. I use them interchangeably, so it's whichever one is in the closest reach to my hand usually. But I did blend out all of the purple and her hair and that kind of stuff just to give it a smoother appearance. So you may have noticed, when I would stop and then I would pop back on and it would look different. So that's what I did. So apologies for that. Time has been not my friend lately, but so here I'm going in with a little goldenrod, and I'm just building off of the artichoke and the green ochre that I've added. Now this color is designed to warm up the gold a little bit, so you can really use a lot of different colors for gold. I want this to be more of a tarnished type of gold, like an antique gold, so I am using espresso here. You could use something like a sepia as well, dark umber even. You just want to have a dark and then kind of your mid-tone and then a lighter tone. Now, I don't want this to be a real yellow gold. To me, the more yellow your gold is, the more new it looks. So I'm using things like cream and artichoke and goldenrod to depict the actual gold color. If it was a newer gold, you could use something more like a deco yellow, sand, jasmine, those kind of colors to brighten it up a little bit. And then in addition, you could add these same colors. You would just add in more of the yellows. In this step, see, I'm using jasmine because I wanted it just a little brighter. Right? But here, this is a piece that I just forgot. And if you've ever watched any of my color alongs, I am sad to report that this is not an uncommon occurrence that I leave a hand or a small piece. Oh, no, that isn't, we haven't even gotten to it where I missed it. This is just part of her band. I wanted a little bit of a variance in color with the purples here. And so I'm just kind of creating like a little blend, much like you would do on a flower, going dark, medium, light, and blending it out. And you can see here now when you look at it, I have blended it out with the Gamsol. This was kind of a challenging page to determine which purples I wanted to use where and how much of them. And so here I'm using kind of a combination. I want to bring in a little bit of that pink tone, but as you can tell, I'm going over the entire thing with the violet. And it will change the violet and make it a little redder without it being pink. This is the piece I thought I was doing a second ago. These two little pieces that I forgot. These are not the same color as what I used before. So hopefully you didn't miss those. Do I think, does it stand out glaringly that it's different? No. But I will say it looked too purple to me, so I went ahead and went in with this pinkier color to add a little bit of that tone to it. Now, once again, I wanted this to be more of a burnished gold. And this piece even more so because there's a lot of crevices in this piece. And so I've added quite a bit of dark umber first and then added my gold, as opposed to on the band where we started with the cream. And I did that so that it would remain darker. If you start with light, oftentimes you can keep it light. But if I would have went into this with light, even when I added my dark, it will make the dark lighter. And I didn't want that in this case. So just kind of doing the same process, only instead of going light to dark, I am now going dark to light. But this is actually cream that I'm using here. Apologies, I didn't change my card. I really like this book. I will say the paper is good quality paper in its thickness. I love that the book's one-sided, but it wasn't necessarily alcohol-friendly paper because of its absorbency. It's very much like more like a cardstock, like an untreated cardstock. It just sucks the color. But it is great for all the other mediums because it can really kind of hold up. So these are just me touching up that dark area again, bringing it back. Because you can see when I went over it with the cream, it lightened it a little bit. And I'm just adding some to the inside there just to add a little shadowing. Now, you could add in, I think what I'm doing right now is actually espresso. Sorry, sometimes I apologize. Right now I have an awful lot on my plate and I am a little distracted when I work. So my apologies, but I just brought in a little bit more of that espresso because I pulled my head out and got the card out. But I just wanted to really deepen up the shadowed areas and bring out a little bit more of that darkness that, to me, it makes it look more 3D, but it also makes it look, this isn't something she just bought at a store and put on her head, right? She's been wearing this. It's been passed down through her generations. And so I wanted it to kind of feel that way. And adding those darker tones really does that, I think. And then I'm just kind of blending in and softening the edges a little bit there. This is definitely an optional step. You can stop at any time. I just really like the effects. Did everyone have a good Mother's Day? I did. I had a lot of family here. It was nice. A lot. It was a lot. Good things can be a lot too, right? And it was a good thing. It was. My cousins came into town. Hadn't seen them for a long time. My son and his wife and 2 boys were here. My other son is visiting from Seattle. So, full house. We had a full house, but we had a lot of laughter and a lot of love, and that was very nice. Here I'm using the exact same colors and doing the exact same thing. In the shadows, I'm adding the darkness. I am kind of flicking it out, much like you would do with alcohol markers, towards the middle, and then towards the middle it will be light. Now this piece of paper that you see, this is actually what's called glassine, and I bought a roll years ago. It's lasted me forever because I often don't think of grabbing it. You could use wax paper, you can use just regular paper, But I like this because it's a slicker surface. It doesn't have a waxy film on it at all. It's kind of like the slick part of the wax paper without the wax. But it slides over your paper and it keeps you from rubbing your hands like all across her face and, her headband and stuff, because I don't want to smudge that. And Prismacolors are pretty renowned for their smudging because they're smushers. And so it's just something to be mindful of. And you can buy glassine on Amazon, or you could probably get it in any reputable art store. I'm sure Blick carries it. I don't know. I bought mine on Amazon, 10 years ago. I don't know. But you just cut off a little piece and you can use it over and over again. So that's why you never really go through it too much, right? So this piece will sit on my desk for a while now, and every time I color, I'll use it. And I really don't find that it picks up the color from the Prismacolor, but I know it definitely keeps my hand from smudging. And that's a good thing. This is also good for people that use like a lot of lotions and things to try and keep the oils from getting on your paper. That can be a problem for a lot of people. I recommend that you wash your hands before you start any sort of project like this, because it can act as a resist and not allow your colors to lay down evenly. So let's see. So what else is new? My neighbor just got an adorable little puppy. It is a Yorkie mixed with a wire hair Dachshund, and she's just adorable. Her name is Maple. It's going to be so nice having another little puppy for Ellie to play with, someone that's her size, because my guess is she'll probably be about the same size as Ellie when she's grown. She's about 4 or 5 pounds now. So that's exciting. My friend Christine also got a dog. Hers is a Poodle Bichon mix. It is a half-brother to Miss Molly, which if you're on my Facebook group, you have seen pictures of Molly. She's so adorable. She's just such a stinking cute dog. Molly is white, and Finnick is his name, and they're going to call him Finn, and he's black, and they get him on Friday. So I'm super excited for her. I love little puppies so much. You know how people are baby people? I'm not really a baby person. I enjoy kids as they get a little older. But dogs, I am a puppy fanatic. So, I'm weird that way. So going back to the page here, I just decided to go with the more pinky purples for this part of her shirt, her collar, or whatever you want to call it. I thought about making these gold. I think they would definitely work to be gold. I think it could be some sort of gold jewelry there. But because she had the big necklace, I decided to go with, the pinky purples. Okay, so for those of you that have asked, my mom is doing really well. She's completely moved into my house. We still have to go through her stuff at her house and decide what to do with everything. But, we've got her settled in, and physically she's doing very well. So it's been a big change to both of us, and I think we're both handling it relatively well. So that's good news. But I do need to go through all of her things and basically downsize her entire apartment. And I don't have a lot of room here at my house. So it's been a big project. So I apologize for not being on as often. I am doing my best to at least get one video out a week, but I will try for more. I definitely need to do a haul video because I realize I haven't done one all year. And I've gotten some really cool things. I got a great Mother's Day gift. Can't wait to show it to you. So look for a video soon. I'm going to try and get that recorded. And I am way behind in the Africa book. So I may be doing pages in the Africa book. And unfortunately, maybe not doing as much of the research. We will see. Everything I'm just kind of taking on a day-by-day basis. But I really appreciate everybody's patience. Now here, I was really in a debate with myself. I was like, are these like a raised circular thing on the, on her words are hard sometimes, on her shoulder there? Or are these like scales, like flat discs? And so I think there's room to argue either way. I decided to go ahead and treat this more like a raised, almost like a rope type of thing right here, as opposed to the flat, like metallic disc type of thing. I think either way would work. You would just need to color it differently to get the effect of each of those. But, what else is new? So the YouTube, or not YouTube, the Facebook group is going fantastic. We have, it's a smallish group right now, and everybody's super friendly. It's very active. People are posting. I love it so much because I really enjoy seeing you guys' pages. I feel like I always get to talk about my pages, but I really want to see your pages and what you do. And so that has been really nice. And there are some great people in there that really, they post a lot and are hosting challenges. And so there's 2 different challenges going on right now. So that's been really fun. And then let's see, what else? The membership, we haven't done as much as I'd like with membership because all of this happened, relatively at once. But the members have been enjoying early access to my pages and more say so into what is happening. So if you're interested in that, check it out. We will be doing some lives coming soon. Now here, I just felt like the background was so busy, it really took away from this lovely lady. So I took my black alcohol marker and I essentially just went over all of the black. Now right here, I'm just going over the little fog looking things, and then it's going to jump ahead because I didn't really feel like you guys needed to watch me, do that. But can you see how the background still kind of shines through? So I'm going to emphasize that by going over the black, the original black areas, again with the black marker. And it creates almost like a lightening of those other areas, right? Of the foggy kind of areas. And then you'll see at the end what I do. I don't want to spoil the surprise. You probably saw it on the final picture, but basically I used a signal ball gold metallic pen to kind of go around the edges. Now here I am doing the beads just like I did like her headdress and stuff. Same colors, the gold, the artichoke, the green ochre, and then going in with the, I don't know if I go in with espresso or dark umber or both. And then I'll add a little white highlight pen at the end. Okay, so what do y'all think of this necklace? Do you think I should have done it a different color? And if so, what? I was really torn. I felt like I really needed to keep the palette tight on this one. I didn't want to introduce another color because I thought about bringing something in, like an orange or something. In the end, I'm very content with using the gold here. But I also acknowledge that it kind of, gold is very predominant. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of the difference in microphones. So, up until now, I've been using a specific mic, and now I'm using a different one. Let me know which one you prefer. I feel like the first mic, there's not as much of a hollow sound to it. Like this one kind of sounds like I'm in an open room. An open room. But I do feel like in some ways this one is clearer. So I would be really curious to think what you guys, or I would be very curious which is your preference. So please write first or second in your comments. First would mean that you like the one that I used up until this point, and second means that you prefer the one I'm using at this moment. Now I really struggled with this piece. I was like, do I make this like part of the purple, or do I keep it gold? And I felt like it was a very different shape than the gold I had been using, so I wanted to just keep it purple. Like she bought matching earrings for the occasion. Alright, so now the scary part, y'all. We're going to be moving into the face soon. Have you prepared yourself? All I can tell you about faces is I am intimidated too, but you just have to dive in. Go very lightly at first so that you can erase. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking this burnt umber and I'm putting it at her hairline. Anywhere there'd be shadows, you can see the lines that the artist made, indicating that there might be shadows there. You can look at other pictures online and get an idea. I'm just trying to add a little definition to her nose. And you can see these are very, very light strokes. And you can see that my pencil is like, normally it's at like a 45-degree angle. This is more like a 20-degree angle or something. It's not quite flat, but it's pretty dang flat because I want to use the side of the pencil here. And it's a little intimidating because, especially on a toothier paper, you're going to get like a pebbly effect. You can see it looks like sandy on her cheek right there. You just have to keep going because between burnishing it and our blending solution, we are going to eliminate that. Okay? Now, if you don't like something, use, what are they called? A kneaded eraser to lift it up. If you use something like your battery operated eraser, you're going to erase everything. And you're going to leave like a definitive mark in your erasing, whereas most likely you've just went a little too dark and you just want to lighten it a little bit. So that is one tip that I have. Now here I've went to a burnt sienna, and as I look at it right now, I'm not that impressed with her cheekbone. I got that color a little high up on her cheek, and everything looks too stark, right? It just looks like her face is scruffy or dirty. And all I can tell you is art often goes through an ugly stage. So you just got to push through that and just keep on keeping on. Okay? So here I'm starting to use this light peach to blend things out a little bit. I am not burnishing. I'm using almost the same pressure as I was using with my darker colors. I want to simply add a little bit of this color to help blend it out, but I am not trying to smush it out, right? This paper is not going to allow me to do that. And the fact that I put alcohol marker down for my base layer, a lot of this face has nothing to smush to, right? Because alcohol marker will never smush into a Prismacolor. Look at the difference. All I did, y'all, I know you think I'm crazy. I should have done it on camera, and I apologize, but I literally used Gamsol and a cotton bud or a tortillion. I can't remember which one I used now. And I just blended it out, and this is the result. It looks so much better. I didn't add any other color, okay? All I did was blend it out. Now here I'm adding a little bit of the darker color on, you want to do it on the underside, in the corners, and where the lips meet. You want where the lips are the puffiest there in the middle to be your lighter spot. I even left a white piece there to act as my highlight. I will tone that back a little bit. Now for the eyes, I am using this Parma Violet, and you can see I am not going all the way into the eye. I'm not just filling that whole area, right? Most of it is filled, but it's a very light layer. Next, I'm going in with the next darkest color, which is my violet, and I'm going on the edge up by the eyelid, because your eyelid will kind of cast a shadow. So we're going to add a little darkness there. So up at the top there, and a little bit on this bottom part because she's turned away, so there would be a little more shadow. And I want the center of her eye to be a little brighter than, if you look at a lot of irises, they almost have a darker rim around the actual eye color. And that's what I'm adding in here. And I'm pushing medium hard, so not as light as I was. And then I'm adding a little bit of white here. One, to blend it, and two, I feel like it gives those eyes a little more life, not just being all one color. And I really like that the color is not the same as her outfit, right? It's a little lighter. And then here I'm going in with the darkest tone just in the creases of where her eyeshadow would be. So right there on the edges, and a little like you would put eyeliner a little bit out into the crease. I'm giving her kind of the, I don't know, what do you call that? The wings. I'm not a makeup person, but the little cat eye kind of thing. And then I'm going in with my lighter shade because I don't want her to look like she has a black eye. So that's all I'm doing here. And then I'm going to go back in and add a little more shadowing with this burnt ochre. And you can see how that just adds a little more definition now that I have some other color in there. We're just deepening up those shadows a little bit. And here I'm adding the highlights with a white pencil. So along her ear, like think about where the light would hit. So up here on her what's that called? The eyebrow bone. And I feel like this kind of brings out her eyes a little bit in the corners of her eyes to kind of highlight it. I look at reference samples, I Google portrait faces, that kind of thing. And then I just add it, and then, like I said, kneaded eraser if I need to. I wanted to lighten up some areas on her face, and right now it looks a little bright, but then you'll see I tone it back, I think. But you can see how just putting that light on her cheekbone, where I told you I thought I had gotten it a little too dark, and then here I tone it back with that light peach, and I think it makes a big difference. It makes the face more, it looks more alive and not just like painted or whatever. And I am no means a professional at this. There's a lot of good artists that do portrait faces. I do the bare minimum. And I did want to bring in the brighter pink tones into this piece of jewelry. All I can say is really trust the process. Allow yourself permission to just go with it and to try and fix it. If you really look at my face, it's a little blotchy in spots, especially on that one cheek, and her forehead's a little light. But you know what? I think when you look at the picture as a whole, it looks fine. I think most people look at it and go, oh, that's nice. Here I'm adding just a little bit of the red tone into the corner of her eye, just to add a little life, so that they don't look like white marbles in her head. Excuse me. And here I'm adding a little more dark tones to where there would be more shadow on the side of her nose, on her neck, on her cheek a little bit there. And then you can see, you just play with it, blend it out. Now here, this is a Signo ball pen by Uniball. It is gold metallic, and I decided I wanted to maybe go around these, whatever this is, the wisps, the fog, whatever this is called. And I am going to zip ahead here in a minute. I don't think I make you watch me draw all of these in. Maybe I do. Here I'm just trying to see, do I like it? Should I do this? Oh yes. The Speedy Gonzales method. I think I sped this up like 20 times, so don't think I'm fast here. But I do like to show you guys everything. And like I said, I apologize. I struggle with when people look at a video and they see that it's an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. They're like, oh, I don't have an hour and 20 minutes. That's, and they don't watch. And so if I show you everything, like when I blend my colors, part of me is like, who wants to watch that? I'm literally, using blending solution, or I'm literally, drawing on this. So I'm always kind of evaluating those things, like what do I show, what do I not show, what do I speed up, how fast do I speed it up. Almost all of my stuff is at 2 times speed because real time is it's just too much. It's too much talking, it's too much dead time. It's people look at the videos and go, oh my word, 3-hour video, or like this one would be an hour and a half instead of 40 minutes. 40 minutes sounds more doable to people. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you'd like even more Jazzy Doodle and a little more snark, please check out the membership below. If you're looking for a community where you can share your work and chat with other fellow colorists in a safe and welcoming environment, hit the subscribe button to Jazzydoodledesigns and then look for Jazzydoodledesigns Coloring Community on Facebook. And there you can join a group of fellow colorists to talk all things coloring and share cute pet pictures. I hope to see you there. And until next time, happy coloring.